Rahul with us today. We had a couple of conversations, and every time I speak to Rahul, he inspires what India could do as a nation. So more about that as we get into the conversation. But Rahul, to start with, look, you've been a sort of a serial entrepreneur, which is not a common thing these days, and most of us hesitate to become an entrepreneur because we like the monthly income which comes every month, and that's somebody told us once that the monthly income is the biggest drug that you can have, you know. So and you sort of obviously didn't you got out of that and then started your own companies, clearly with Micromax, sort of household product at that point in time, and then now you've turned it into multiple other businesses. So I just want you to give the audience a perspective of what was this entrepreneurial thing that you had, which actually drove you to build these brands, very different from what people were getting into those days. Because it's easier to build a product for the Western market and then align with the Western, but you had this Indian market in your mind, and then you built some of these things very much for the Indian market. So what was going through your mind, and if you could give us some insights into that.
No, I can go very long on this.
I will stop you.
Okay. Yeah, but we were discussing that, what sort of audiences would be there, what exactly they would like to hear. So I can talk, more on, from design to technology to Bollywood. So, whatever you guys interested in, certainly.
Clearly, Bollywood, of course. You know that.
So, for me, I grew up in a very middle-class household. My father was a school teacher. My mother was a housewife. And in a typical middle-class family in India, the parents, the only thing they want is their son should become, engineer or doctor. So certainly, I became an engineer. My sister became a doctor. So, boxes checked for parents. But somehow, since beginning, I said that I will not work for anyone. I will work for myself. This is since I was growing up. So I don't have any work experience. I finished college and straight away started Micromax. I have zero work experience in life. Whatever I have learned, it's on the job, on the go. Otherwise, I do not have any real skill sets which I have learned. So this and how it started, when I finished engineering, my father said, okay, what exactly are you going to do? And so I said, just buy me a computer. And this is when everybody was working on Y2Ks and,
right.
Some microsystems that we are the .in.com, those days. And I had no idea even what to do with a computer. I bought a computer. I will tell you a story. I went to the guy who was selling the computer, and I saw the computer, and there were many shortcuts on the screen. So I thought that having this, I never knew these are shortcuts. I thought, this is looking something good. I said, "Bhaiya, aisa hi computer banao, with all this." So he laughed at me, thinking kisko kuch nahi pata, and then he gave me the computer. Then I bought a book at that day, Learn VB in 21 days. In 3 days, I wrote a program, Hello World and all those sort of things. Humko laga hum programmer ban gaye. So my friend came, he said, okay, this nice book and all. And I said, yeah, you take it. Mera to ho gaya, I have learned. So he took that book. He actually became a programmer. So.
Or you become an entrepreneur is even better.
Yeah? No, so that guy also became a co-founder with Micromax since beginning.
Excellent.
So he came so he works on technology till date, everything on to do with coding and all. And I take care of sales, marketing, brand. So that's how we started Micromax. All college friends came together, and interestingly started on training SAP, wherein I had no idea of but I jumped into it, and then moved on from SAP to embedded technology to e-commerce technologies. Navigated a lot. Although all these things you can see right now, but this has a 20 years of struggle behind this. So at that time, when we were doing SAP training and implementation, it just fell down, and then we moved on to e-commerce, and the .com boom, that also went bust. I was going to US at that time, very raw. My English was also, you can say very raw, very poor. And again, I will tell you an incident. At that time, this is around year 2000.
2000, yeah.
And now if I remember, I say I was crazy, I was mad. I saw there was an embedded technology conference happening in New Orleans, online. So हमने कहा हम online वहाँ पे जाएंगे because कुछ तो embedded में we have to do. I contacted a professor who was an Indian, and he said, I am coming to that conference, okay, you come. I just befriended him with 4 or 5 emails, वो मेरा दोस्त बन गया. So since we were very new startup, so I said, I don't know where to stay. He said, okay, I am staying in, this DoubleTree hotel. You come and, stay with me. I have 2 beds. So मैंने कहा चलो hotel के पैसे बचे. I went there, I reached, met people, did a tie-up with this University of California because he was a professor there on R&D. When I was going back from New Orleans to Los Angeles, on the airport, because in New Orleans, their accent is a little thick.
Yes. Southern accent, as I say.
So when I went to the, for the boarding counter, so he just saw me and same your question. He said, tall man, did you pack your bag yourself? I said, excuse me. Did you pack your bag yourself? Means pack your bag yourself.
Oh, okay.
हमसे इंडिया में किसने पूछा pack your bag yourself? So I said, yes, sir. I did, yes. Yeah. So he said, okay. So tall man, you want a window or an aisle? I said, excuse me. He said, do you want window or an aisle? अच्छा उस टाइम में हम aisle को aisle नहीं पढ़ते थे. Right?
Correct.
It was AISLE.
SLE, yeah.
So मेरे को सिर्फ Windows समझ में आया. I thought Windows. So I thought he must be thinking India is doing great in software.
Yeah.
So he must be asking which Windows you are using. तो हमने का latest बोलते. I said, sir, Windows 2000. He got mad. He just, took a paper, drew a plane. He said, window aisle. Oh, I said, okay, this is what you're asking. So anyway, so we've jumped all those hoops and then learned embedded technology. And then one fine day, there was a guy from Nokia who found us, and he said, you are willing to do a M2M machine-to-machine business for us? Since we were doing, writing device drivers and worked on ARM, PowerPC, multiple platforms, he said yes. And their mobile phones were doing well, but M2M was not. So we started working on M2M technologies, and then this is a long story. We worked on their products, and then one fine day. So by the way, in 2 years, the M2M division for Nokia, which in India, which was nothing, we started working on it. It became number 2 globally for them. Number 1 was Thailand. We became number 2. And one day I got a call from this Finnish guy from Nokia. He said, Rahul, I have a good news and bad news for you. Come to my home. I went there. I said, yes. His name was Henry. I said, Henry, yes, what happened? He said, what would you like to hear? I said, bad news first. He said, bad news is that as Nokia, we have sold M2M business. So there's no M2M business. I said, what, we are doing so well, why? He said, it's a global decision, I can't help it. I said, okay, what is good news? He said, good news is, as Nokia, we're coming in car accessories business. Would you like to distribute? I said, no, thank you. So we had all the technology with us. We made our own product, stamped Micromax on it, because we used to make fixed wireless phones and terminals at that time.
Right.
Went back to Airtel and Vodafone and all those guys, and we said we can power your PCO payphones using Micromax, and that's how the story started.
But before you leave Micromax, I think clearly those of you remember Micromax as an end product. I mean, Micromax still exists in a different version of it.
So I'll just say at Micromax, when we were at peak, we used to do our business was around 10,000 crores per annum. Today we are doing around 2,000. Last month we did around 2,000 crores a month.
Wonderful. So it's almost 15-fold.
Yeah. So it's the business has multiplied. We are not in B2C, so you don't see our TV commercials now. But on the back end, B2B is doing quite well.
But what a fantastic innovation of, I want to say, frugal innovation and very conscious innovation in many ways in Micromax. And you competed with all the world-leading brands at that point in time. So in your mind, what really was the, I thought one of the things you mentioned, Rahul, I think when you were talking about is that you really understood the customer's need at that point in time. People were just getting into smartphones and you felt that, creating something for the Indian market as an Indian brand was the right solution for them. So you understood what the customers really want, and then you manufacture this device. So tell us something about what was the thought process in terms of creating Micromax into this brand, domestically owned, domestically built, all of that. Yeah.
So the idea of making phones actually came from our fixed wireless phones and terminals, what we used to do, and power pay phones. But one fine day, I got a call from a senior Airtel guy because we used to work, supply equipment to them. They said, Rahul, there's a problem in your machine in interiors of Bengal. So I said, I'll send some engineer. He said, no, go yourself, senior level escalation. I said, okay. I took a plane, landed in Calcutta, took a cab, went there, saw the problem, fixed it. While I was coming back in a village, I saw an Airtel STD PCO, a booth. So I asked, and there was no electricity. So I just asked the cab guy, I said, Bhaiya, please stop the car. And I went inside and realizing there is a Airtel PCO, they'll be using our machine in the back end. So I said, Bhaisab, how are you powering this? Because there is no electricity in the village. He showed me a big truck battery there. He said, Saab, we draw power from here. I got more intrigued. We were not making phones. I was using a Nokia phone. No signal, low signal area. I said, there's no signal. How are you drawing signals here? He showed me a big 20 dB gain antenna mounted on a pole on his terrace. Typical Indian jugaad.
Correct.
He said, Saab, yahan se signal we draw. I said, fine. I got more intrigued. I said, there is no electricity. How do you charge the battery? He said, 10 kilometers away, there is a village. I lug it on my bicycle. Overnight, I go there, charge it, and come back in the morning. I said, how much money do you make? He said, around 3,000, 4,000 rupees. Let's say $80.
Yeah.
Now, $80 or 4,000 rupees in a village where there is no electricity, there is
In a
no
month.
TV
In a month. Okay.
is a good amount of money for those people.
Yes.
And then I said, okay, fine. I got a similar experience. I was traveling in interiors of Bihar. I saw there, at those days it was Nokia, Motorola, different sort of pins because the charging was not standardized.
Correct.
Right? We all remember.
Every charger was different.
Which,
yeah.
do you have this patli pin wala charger? Right? If you remember those days. So, I saw people there asking 25 to 50 rupees to charge your phone because there was no electricity at home.
Right.
So I came back and we were doing our fixed wireless terminal business. That business was around 200 to 250 crores for us annually. And for us at that time, we thought it's good enough. So I sat with all our team. I said, guys, can we make mobile phones? So of course, the first expression was, are you mad? And all my other founders, they said, Rahul, you're doing 250 crores a year. I still remember there was a new BMW came at that time in India. I bought a BMW 3 Series. So at that time, my parents thought he's doing something right.
You arrived.
Yeah, no, not arrived. He's doing something right because, they never knew fixed wireless terminal. For my dad was a Sanskrit teacher.
Yeah.
So anybody comes home, he say, beta kya karta hai? He say, computer mein kuch karta hai. Right? But at that time, he realized he's doing something okay.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, I still remember I went home, I talked to my mom, I said, we are going to make mobile phones. And my mom said, beta, are you okay? Do you have fever? Is it okay? No, it was an audacious bet because, globally, if you see, there were only 4 or 5 multinationals, Nokia, Samsung, Sony Ericsson, Motorola. There was no local champions.
Correct.
So coming into that market thing, for example, today if I say, okay, let's make a plane, you'll say, are you mad? How are you going to compete with a Boeing or Airbus?
Yeah.
Right? Look at their infrastructure. So it is, so we said, no, I think they are cooking their food in Finland or in Korea. They do not have the local flavor. So we're going to come with the first phone with long battery life. And that's how actually Micromax was born with 30 days of battery life. It was a standard,
Was it a feature phone or was it a?
It was a feature phone. It was the only feature phone. So, and internally, even my founders and other people, they were like, my whole team was against. Because nobody wanted to get out of their comfort zone because the business was doing fine.
Yeah.
But we took that bet, and to me it was allowed. It was given some casino money. Okay, you make 10,000 phones, it works, it's fine. Otherwise, you come back here. But then there's
limited risk in some sense. Yeah.
And also, see, normally we feel everybody thinks about what is your vision and how do you do. People talk about big, but as visions are not formed fully sometimes.
Right.
So at that time, I wanted to become a Nokia. No, answer was no. I was still in survival mode. Okay, let me survive. Let me make some money. But slowly, at that time, the target was, there was only one Indian company doing mobile phones, which was Spice Mobile. They used to do around 1 lakh phones in a month. So, and it was like by Mr. Modi. So we thought that the day we will beat them in 3-4 years, we will be happy. We did that flat in 6 months, and we realized that we caught them napping. And the potential was huge. Because see, in the market, there was no comparison. Our phone was a long battery life.
Right.
So whether it is 2,000 rupees or 2,200 rupees or 2,400 rupees, does not matter. Because there is no like-to-like comparison.
Because of the long battery life.
Because of long battery life, there was no, other phones were having, like say, a standby time of 2 days or 3 days. This was a 30-day standby time. Again, all our back-end work of embedded technology, whatever I worked earlier, 7-8 years, everything came together. We use that. See, normal phones take 7 to 8 milliamperes per second, the current outage. We reduced it to 2 to 3 milliamperes, increased the battery size from 800 to 1800 mAh, and here is the phone without changing the form factor.
Yeah.
And that
you truly understood the customer need.
Yes, and like this, then when we started, we started getting repeat orders, and then we said, boss, this is a massive opportunity. Then one day, I know I have multiple stories, by the way. So if you're timing it, then you see. I saw my cook using 3 SIM cards. Those are the days when new licenses, Videocon, Uninor, so many new operators came. So I said, why using 3 SIM card? He said, bhaiya, one for local calling. I said, fine. I said, second? He said, second to do STD call to my village. I said, fine. I said, why third? He said, third is incoming is free. I'm not throwing it away.
Okay.
Right? So I went back to our guys and I said, guys, why can't we make a dual SIM phone with a single baseband? Because if you do two baseband, it become expensive. I said single baseband. And that is how the first dual SIM phone was born. And I still remember I showcased it to our distributors in Hyderabad at that time. Everybody stood and clapped, and that phone for 6 months was out of stock for us. And then, of course, the whole industry came on dual SIM.
But Rahul, this is a great example, right? I think how you truly understood the frugal need of the Indian consumer, whether it is the battery life, which is with the fact that there's no electricity, the fact that people use multiple SIM cards, so you need the dual SIM, etc. But on the contrary, I also want to give you the other side of the equation, where I mean Steve Jobs, if you remember, when he first released the iPhone, which is the first smartphone ever, and he mentioned saying that I don't care about what people want. I know what people want, and I'm going to give them what they want. Right? I'm not going to. If they run a survey before the first iPhone was released, you would have probably not gotten a very positive result. That people are, they want touch screen and they want other type of interface with the phone and so on and so forth. How do you relate to that? Saying that, okay, one is what the consumer wants, you're going to build it for them, and then they will buy. As opposed to, I want to understand what the consumer really wants, and I'm going to build that product with the consumer really needs. So where are you at this spectrum, and why?
No, first I would like to say there's only one Steve Jobs.
There's only one Rahul, I must say.
So there's only one Steve Jobs. So you don't, follow that. Okay, Steve Jobs said, I know what you want, and I will do something. You might fall, flat also on your face. But as we were discussing, see, every director makes a movie thinking he's making Bahubali, the blockbuster. No director makes a movie thinking I'm making a flop movie. Okay. Yet out of 100 movies, 90 to 90% movies are flop, 10% works. But it is important to understand your consumer. It is very, very important to go and understand that what a wide variety they are looking forward to. And till date, we do that. I will give you another example. I am jumping now from Micromax phone days, because there is a lot of journey in between our manufacturing, whatever we are doing. Yeah. But coming to our, a new innovation, what we are doing on MiPhi. Now, MiPhi is a semiconductor company where we do firmware designing and manufacturing for all sort of memory solutions out here. Now, there is a typical, of course, we do SSD, SATAs, and all consumer enterprise designing and manufacturing. So in this company, and this is joint venture with Phison. Phison is from Taiwan. So, they came up with a solution called AI Adaptive. So I said, why they have made, you have come up with something like this. They say, oh, this is, we just want to put it up because we want to do some training and all for AI, and that's how we wanted to do it. I said, okay. We took that solution out here in India, and then we said, okay, what can we do with this? Now, with that solution, after doing multiple software layers, you can, if you have to train any AI model, a large model, which is, let's say, 405 billion tokens, which is, let's say, Llama 3,
right?
You will require, let's say, around 100 GPUs, multiple servers. Using AI adaptive, you insert this, it's like a 4 TB card, you insert this into your server. Instead of using 100 GPUs, you'll be able to do your job, let's say, in 10 GPUs. 1/10, you can bring it down. Because what it does is, with the middle layer software, the GPU, because GPU are limited by HBM, it will offload the large model on this memory, and the middle layer software will tell the GPU that this memory also belongs to you. So all computation happens here and you get the result.
Right.
Now, when we did this, even Faizan, who started working on this, they never knew that this could be done. But this we learned when we went to the customers and they say, okay, can you do something like this? You know, because we work with India Drone Mission, we work with a lot of IITs, work with, you know, ISRO. So going to the customer, learning their requirements, and they say, yeah, we can tweak it. And hence we were able to reduce this whole thing. Now imagine the impact of something like this. We all talk about that, you know, AI, US is doing great, or others, or we are far behind, or, you know, we do not have infrastructure, we do not have enough GPUs.
Right.
But if on AI, how many, if you take the models, how many models will be there of 405 billion tokens or 700 billion tokens? 60 to 70% models will be 2 billion tokens, 10 billion tokens,
Correct.
50 billion tokens, right? That you can achieve using this technology, maybe few GPUs in a single or two servers. So this means to say, we have opportunity to do the innovation.
Yeah, yeah.
But we are not going there.
But you know, very related topic, you talked about there is a potential for sure. Then why is that when we talk about Make in India, you know, all of that, especially around manufacturing, you look at the supply chain, Rahul, and then you will be, I mean, of course, you know this a lot more than I do. We are really doing assembly rather than really manufacturing in some sense, especially around mobility. And so many of those basic components still come from the Chinas and Taiwans and, you know, Koreas of the world. Well, maybe not Korea, but mostly Taiwan and China and Taiwan. And why is that we are so reliant on these countries to make the basic components? And will there be a day when, you know, India can start making, it's when you say, okay, we are making a mobile phone and, you know, Micromax included, the stuff inside, the components are also from India. What is it stopping us from doing that today?
No, it's a great question. And, you know, when we were studying, we never thought that when we were doing business, although the idea was business doing with companies to companies, but later on we realized that the business is, you know, when the scale becomes big, then it is, business becomes countries to country. Right. It's not company to company, it is country to country. So if you see the whole supply chain question,
right?
See, all of these things started initially, let's say, from Japan or NTT Docomo days.
Correct.
And then the whole ecosystem from Japan moved to Korea. From Korea, then the whole ecosystem moved to Taiwan. And if you see from Taiwan, everything then moved to China. Now, China was smart enough to understand this problem 20 years back, which we have realized today. Semiconductors, 2 years, 3 years back, we started up with this. They've been working on semiconductors for the last 15 years.
Correct.
Right? So if you see all the display companies earlier, they were all from Japan, TDK, Sharp, right? Or Korea, LG. Now today, who are the top display companies? Tianma, BOE, they're all Chinese. Because they created that whole ecosystem, they realized that this is something what we have to do. And you know, government policies and everything were surrounding that. I think for us, the initial assembly days are now over. And even the government understands this, and it's not that the government don't understand. Government is smart enough. These guys have cracked IAS exam, we have not. Okay. But we have to see that we have to give our country some time on this. It is overnight, we will not be able to do it. So from assembly now, we are doing some serious manufacturing. Apple coming here, manufacturing out here is a serious signal that we as a country have capabilities.
Right.
We ourselves are, you know, into doing manufacturing of very advanced products, which of course I can't reveal, but that is a top level of manufacturing globally. Any sort of electronics manufacturing, what we are setting up is the topmost level. Beyond that, there is nothing. So this means we will be able to achieve that top level, because we will learn, you know, and understand those skill sets. Then comes the component ecosystem, because, you know, for component ecosystem, you need to create those companies. Now the government has now come up with ECMS scheme, which is incentivizing on the component ecosystem. So mobile phone is a complex product. You have around 700 to 800 components going on one mobile phone, and if it is Apple, maybe double that. So I think in next 4 or 5 years we will take to create those, that ecosystem out here. But the idea is that we want people to come and take that shot, right? We are very good at working for others, but when it comes to us, and this is what we were discussing, even in India, in terms of services, outsourcing, we are fantastic. But do we have our own chipset? Now, do we have our own 10 nanometer, 8 nanometer, or let's say, our own semiconductors or our own products? We don't have our own Adobe.
But let me ask you that question. I know our time is up. I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions and we'll wrap it up. But I want to ask you, why is that China has built such a beautiful ecosystem? I know there are multiple things that has to happen. You mentioned about the government support. You mentioned about everything else which comes around it. What is that one or two things that you can quickly recall? Where China takes a big advantage over India?
There are multiple steps, but I will give you one relatable. Yeah. For example, China government stood up and said, we will make everything out here in China. So there is no Google, there is no Microsoft, there is no Twitter, there is no Facebook. They have everything of their own. Yeah. You stop Google today out here, we will see protest. See, government also have to come forward and say, okay, from today onwards, there is no, but we need to come up with our own products, right? Similarly, even in you say any industry, on automotive, Mercedes-Benz is not Mercedes-Benz there. It is a joint venture 50-50 with a Chinese guy. Even BMW is not 100% BMW because they're not allowed to. You have to have Chinese and this is how the whole Chinese ecosystem has become. So there's a new book by Peter McGree, Apple in China. So the theory is that the whole China is built actually by one company which is called Apple. In the way of, of outsourcing, Apple has taught China everything. In last 15 years, Apple has invested $50 billion every year. You multiply that, comes around to around what, $900 billion? They have already invested in China. They have trained around 28 million people on their technology, teaching the technology to them, which is more than the population of California. And then those people moved out from those factories, from Foxconn, and went into drone companies, EV companies, all of that. Similarly happened with Tesla. 2017 Tesla went there. EV share in China was 5%. Today, look at China. They have killed it completely. So in India, coming back to your question, we need to have that okay, we need to build Indian companies because as I said, great countries are built by great companies. Right. You see America, you have NVIDIA, what is the valuation? Come on, anybody who has invested in NVIDIA here?
4 trillion, 3 trillion.
3 trillion?
Yeah.
4 trillion? Which is more than our,
close to our GDP.
Yeah, close to our GDP. One company.
Yeah.
And they have multiple companies like this. So that is why America is America, because they are great companies. We need to build those companies out here. Only then, we'll leapfrog.
All right. With that profound thought, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's give it up for Rahul Sharma. I had so many more questions. We could not go into even 2 questions, Rahul. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much. Really, really.